Everybody. So I've noticed a lot of the TikTok, videos lately where people seen the recent documentary that Netflix produced, Amy Bradley is Missing, about the girl Amy Bradley from Virginia that vanished from the cruise in 1998, and all the various sightings of her since then, and the theories about what happened to her, whether she fell off the boat or whether she was kidnapped or sold into slavery or whatnot. It was interesting for me because it's actually one of the earliest news stories that I can actually remember happening. I actually remember when she went missing, and I wasn't more than 10, 11 years old at the time, 1998, so I would have been, close to 10 when it actually took place. And my grandpa, which God rest his soul, I'm not upholding him for this, he particularly used it to tell us that cruises was evil because he was one of them old school Baptists that believed every little thing was wrong, and he was dead set against cruises. He thought they was floating boats of sin, but that's irrelevant to the case. That's one of the reasons it stands out. But in my humble opinion, it's hard really to vary what happened there. I know the documentary definitely seems biased towards the view that she was kidnapped from the ship and took ashore in the Caribbean and still lives in the Caribbean. And those pictures that surface definitely do have a resemblance to Amy. I have to say that. And I don't deny everybody's eyewitness accounts, but you can't always, trust it always, because some people will jump on it just to get their 15 minutes of fame. In my opinion, though, from what I've seen at cruises and what I've personally known people who's went on cruises, because I've personally known people who's got into issues on cruises, or girls who've been inappropriately touched on cruises, and cruise liners will do anything to cover their own skin. Cruises really are dangerous. I mean, we remember that one cruise that ran out of gas a few years ago, and then all these massive sick outbreaks and everything that take place on them. So cruises definitely are not safe, and I don't think I would ever take one. I really don't. I just don't think they're my cup of tea. There's too much crime goes on them, crime that goes unpunished. So basically, once you're in international waters, like the documentary mentions itself, you're not safe. So God only knows what happened to that poor girl there. Whatever's happened to her, I know if she's been kidnapped, she's had a rough and horrible life. I hate that for her, and it sends a shiver down my spine. So God only knows what happened to that poor girl there. Whatever's happened to her, I know if she's been kidnapped, she's had a rough and horrible life. I hate that for her, and it sends a shiver down my spine. But in my honest opinion, and I could be wrong, and I hope I am with everything in me, but I lean to the fact she was kidnapped, took off that boat, and some of these sightings are true, and she may very well still be out there. I mean, I lean to the belief that she probably was. I just know firsthand from tales that I've been told just how much criminal activity really goes on those boats and how much trafficking and all that's going on in the Caribbean. So, yeah, I lean to the fact that Amy Bradley was kidnapped from the cruise and that she is being held against her will in the Caribbean. And I pray that she gets free. I pray that something happens. I pray for a turnaround. If she did fall off the boat and simply fell overboard and that's all that happened to her, in ways, I don't know, maybe that would be a better outcome. I don't know. Instead of having to suffer for 26 years, the life she's probably had to suffer. Regardless, if the Bradley family ever sees this, I sympathize with y'all's plight. I'm so sorry for everything that y'all went through. I can only imagine if that'd been one of my children, how I would react, how horrified I would be, how I would have lost my mind. I'm terribly sorry for anything any of y'all have had to endure. But, those are my thoughts from the documentary.